Hello and welcome. My name is Mr. Lake, and I'm here just to talk to you about the National Apprenticeship Service and about the opportunities that are available to you. It's really important to remember your options are open about your future. So for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to explain the range of apprenticeship job roles available, the different levels, how you find an apprenticeship, and what you need to do next to start searching and applying. The reason we are covering this topic is because at some point in your future, you may want to consider applying for an apprenticeship. And so it'd be important for you to understand what an apprenticeship is and the range of subjects and levels that they cover. This week is Apprenticeship Week, and on the 1st to the 6th of March is National Careers Week. And so we just want to make sure that you know everything you need to, whether you're in year 11, 10 or 9, to start thinking about decisions you might want to make. We are going through some uncertain times at the moment, and because of the coronavirus pandemic, but we're still here to support you and want to use this time to help you prepare for the future. Throughout this presentation, we're going to be dispelling some common myths about apprenticeships, as well as giving you enough information to truly understand apprenticeships so you can consider them as an option after leaving school, or if you stay on to sixth form, or indeed go on to college. So, next slide. And then lots of people get confused about apprenticeships because actually they have been around for hundreds of years, but they have changed a lot in that time. You will earn a wage. You do earn money on an apprenticeship. So you earn money and you get the opportunity to study at the same time. You'll work for at least 30 hours a week. So it'll feel like a full-time job. And this would include paid time to complete your studies because you still study alongside of that. The employer, whoever your employer is, will invest time to help you gain qualifications and valuable new skills and experience. And you'll be given real responsibilities and expected to work hard, just like anyone else who works within that company. You'll be supported by a training provider who will make sure that you run qualifications alongside your work. So as well as learning, you build up qualifications that you may need as well. Because it's a proper job, you will have a contract of employment and it will include holiday pay, exactly the same as any other member of staff. It's important to understand that an apprenticeship is a real job with a real employer, and you'll spend time working alongside other people and learning from their experience. Generally takes about 1 to 4 years in an apprenticeship, unless you want to study law and be an apprenticeship as a solicitor. That can take up to 6 years. But there are varying times within them. There are no easy options. An apprenticeship is not an easy option. You're holding down a full-time job and you're studying, and it takes skill. And it won't be right for everyone, but it's a great opportunity to learn about a job while you're also getting paid within it. The first thing to remember is that you do get paid a salary. So people think apprentices are lowest paid, and the minimum you can get for a national minimum wage for an apprentice is $4.15 an hour. And this is lower than the normal national wage, but it recognises that people are coming in there with no experience whatsoever. But the good news is that lots of employers pay a lot more than national minimum wage for apprenticeships. Some apprenticeship schemes in big organisations have starting salaries of around $15,000, and some London-based employers pay for more than this, obviously because of the price of getting in and working and living within London. You may want to know that Busy Bees Nursery in Bracknell, and I think there's one in Newbury as well, pay about £166 a week for a level 2 childcare apprentice. British Telecom, BT in Reading, they pay £16,422 a year for a level 3 apprentice, and that's as a field support and technician role. It's important to remember that if you see an apprenticeship you're interested in, don't be put off by the pay if it's low. It's the starting point. And pay will progress and get better as you get better and more experienced. You work your way through an organisation. Another common myth is that once your apprenticeship is over, if it's a 3-year apprenticeship, that's it, you're out there and you need to find another job. This actually just isn't true. 90% of people working within apprenticeships stay with those companies. It's also a really nice opportunity to get to know people as well, because you've got what's called apprenticeship ambassadors for a range of different companies, and you can get to know and get to speak to different people who might also be studying the same as you are. So the range of apprenticeships. When we talk about apprenticeships, we often start thinking about things such as plumbing, electrical and other construction trades. Now these are apprenticeships, and these are kind of more traditional apprenticeships, but there are many brilliant also different opportunities in these areas. But there's hundreds of new apprenticeships in exciting areas you might not know exist. The range of apprenticeship job roles out there is amazing, and this slide just gives you a huge range of apprenticeships available, and it's just a taster. You could start an apprenticeship in hundreds of occupation areas, and some will amaze you. So aviation, cybersecurity, hairdressing, legal services, nursing, creative digital, dental nursing, teaching. Pretty much any area that you want to go into, you should be able to find an apprenticeship. Equally, the range of employers is also incredible. This slide shows you some really familiar logos of big companies in England who all recruit apprentices. Some of these employers may not be recruiting currently, but you will be able to track their recruitment updates on their websites or social media. Around 50% of apprenticeships are started with large companies like this, but 50% are smaller, more local companies. And so there is a balance. Look, these big companies do hire lots of apprentices, but also your more small or medium-sized companies also are taking people on. It can be tempting to think that the best apprenticeships are just with the big well-known companies, but many of the smaller employers have brilliant schemes that enable fast-track career progression for their apprentices. So it's really important to do your research, not to ignore smaller employers because they can be just as good. You also need to think about different roles that a company might have. For example, if you want to work in finance, you shouldn't just look at the big finance and accountancy companies. Lots of other companies will have their own in-house finance departments where you still have access to a huge range of experience and opportunities. It can be a good idea to take some time to look at the different departments that a company has and see if they offer an apprenticeship in that area. For example, you could work as a solicitor for Coca-Cola or a website designer for Vauxhall, a cybersecurity apprentice for government. There are thousands of different opportunities. And you can see there all the opportunities within one company. So sometimes it doesn't matter what that company's about, because if it's a big company like that, then it will have lots of opportunities sitting within there. So, down to the bones of it. We have 4 apprenticeship levels: intermediate, advanced, higher, and degree. If you want to, you can now start an apprenticeship with the potential to work all the way up to achieving a degree. So you could start at an intermediate and work up to a degree level. Higher apprenticeship cover all the levels from 4 to 7. Levels 4, 5, 6, and 7 are the equivalent to a foundation degree and above. So you can go into an apprenticeship for a company and kind of work on a degree level alongside what you're working on. A degree apprenticeship contains a level 6 or 7 bachelor's or master's degree. The level of apprenticeship you start at will depend on the kind of job you're applying for. And it's really important not to be held back by only looking for a particular level, such as a degree apprenticeship, because it may be that you need to start at advanced or higher and work your way up. Doing the job is completely different to getting a GCSE or an A-level in that subject. That's why it can be a bit confusing. So keep an open mind so that you can explore all the opportunities that are available to you. There are many different ways an apprenticeship can be delivered. It will differ depending on the organisation and also on the training provider delivering that apprenticeship. Some apprenticeships, off-the-job learning is delivered at work. This means a tutor will come to you and teach you independently at work. So someone comes into where you are and they talk to you and they kind of set stuff about you for you to get better and get the right qualifications. Another method of delivery is attending college or a local training provider. This is far more, in my experience, far more common in how this works. So you might attend once a fortnight or once a week with other apprentices who work for the other companies in the local area. So depending on if you've got a load of people working in the local area in that area, then there'll be classes in the college, further education college, where you'll be able to do the qualifications that link with it. These options both vary at the moment, obviously due to our social distancing, so there's virtual aspects going on there. And many apprentices also find that they will carry out some learning through online learning, which has increased throughout the pandemic, and may or may not be relevant when you guys find yourself in this situation. Higher degree apprenticeships. Higher and degree apprenticeships are a real alternative to following the traditional route of going to university as a full-time student. They offer all the benefits of higher education with none of the cost. You'll not only be learning, but earning a salary from day one. With a degree apprenticeship, you're much less likely to build up any debt. Your tuition fees are paid for by your employer and the government, so you'll not be expected to pay £9,000 a year. So at the moment, you have to pay £9,000 a year to go to university, plus any extras, and then you have to pay that back if and when afterwards, when you're starting to earn. With an apprenticeship, you don't have to do that. You get paid for being at work, and then your fees are paid for you. There's over 100 universities in England that are offering degree apprenticeships. In the past, going to university was seen as the best way to advance your career to a high level, but with the current level of competition for jobs amongst graduates, it might not be the best route for you. With an apprenticeship, you gain competitive advantage of gaining 3 years work experience while completing your degree. But do bear in mind, it is really hard work to do that. But if you're committed and you want to work hard and you want to achieve and earn good money, you can pick up your apprenticeship at whatever level you go in, work hard at it, and then you'll get trained as you go through the apprenticeship. So how many jobs are there? I had a look on the Find an Apprenticeship website before coming along today, so I could see how many vacancies there are at the moment. Within 5 miles of this school, there are 20 vacancies. Within 10 miles, there's 116, 15 miles, there's 199, and 20 miles, there's 292 vacancies. So within 20 miles of the school, there's that many vacancies. You can see this grows the more you increase your distance. Most of the vacancies are going to be based either in Bracknell town itself, or here you're going to be looking at Reading. It's probably one of the key areas where most of the vacancies will be, and also you've got London as an option. You need to think about how far you'll be prepared to travel to work every day. If you want to think about working in Reading and London, then you could be looking for vacancies there, and that's where the vast majority of these will be. One rule you need to know really is that you need to be able to get there on time every day. It's important to do some wider research and look in lots of places. Vacancy numbers change. Find an apprenticeship have decreased over the period of the pandemic. And so it is important to have a look out there. And you can also use the school Eclipse website, which I did an assembly for you about 4 or 5 weeks ago, which should be really useful too. And so let's just have a look at some ideas of salaries here. So the slideshow shows a range of vacancies that we could find that I found out. You'll notice that they all have different closing dates. This is one big difference to applying to university. So they come out there and they're available for a bit and then they go. If you do see a closing date, it's important you do not wait until the very end to submit your application. Kind of like the apprenticeship people are saying that if they're talking to employers, if they receive a huge number of applications, they'll close the window early. And you'll see that there's a range of different salaries too. This is because employers can decide what to pay as long as they hit that minimum wage. And so a nursery practitioner in Cobham at the top there can earn £233 a week. And the closing date for that is 11th of March. Where you've got someone who can work for Inchcape Toyota as a technician, and their starting wage is a little bit lower at 166. You can see a real variation. The highest one there being in Guildford, where a weekly salary for £346 for someone coming in, it's £18,000 a year. It's very good. But then you have to look at what might also be available. So although you may not get as much money working as a dental nurse or in hairdressing, probably starting on the minimum wage, actually by the time you pick up your qualifications and you work there for a couple of years and you do everything you need to, then you can start to earn more money. And there is a range of different types there. And so it really is worth finding out as much as you can about apprenticeships and about these opportunities which are in your local area. So how do you find an apprenticeship? So number one, it's really important to register with the Find an Apprenticeship. Search the internet for Find an Apprenticeship and it will come up as the first link. The search page is on gov.uk, an official government site. 2, have a look at the different jobs. Do your research. Remember, it's a live job site, and so keep looking at it. Don't just look at it once and then go away. Come back and keep looking at it for a few days over a period of a few weeks and just keep seeing what's available and what's out there. Search and apply. Number 3, start applying for jobs that interest you. You need to remember that typically some of the bigger companies will advertise quite early in the year. for apprentices to start the following September, so don't leave it until the last minute, like I said. Number 4, manage your alerts. Set up your alerts. A great feature of the system is you can do all the hard work for you. So you put in kind of information about the kind of apprentices you're after, and when they come up, you'll get the alerts for it. And then finally here, number 5 is contact companies. Employers are always telling us that the applicants really stand out to them are those who've made a bit of an extra effort. You could really consider contacting the company by asking them if they have any virtual open days coming up or any opportunities to engage with them, to show that you've gone that extra mile, if you like. So where else to look? If you have a particular employer in mind, visit their website. So do look at company websites. Also, make sure you follow the careers page on social media using Facebook. So see what career pages are out there on the Facebook and the Twitter and Instagram, as they'll probably use this as a way to promote their vacancies as well. Even more important for staying on top of alerts and updates about recruitment, while the impact of coronavirus pandemic is going, employers use these platforms to update potential applicants. And so that social media and that area there is somewhere which is becoming, throughout the pandemic, more useful for employers and for young people who are more social media savvy to be looking and seeing what's available to them. There's a lot of job search sites out there, including Vacancy Snapshot, which is one we've got here, which is where you can flick through online interactive profiles from some of the UK's top apprenticeship employers. And definitely just spend some time looking around these, seeing what you can find out. Hear from apprentices. And so if you go onto the Apprentice website, you'll be able to hear from people and the different kind of experience that they've had. If you want to follow National Apprenticeship Service, then we have got lots of ways to do that. Now, we know it's been a challenge time for people to look at their next steps and options of the future, but there is a lot of support out there. So you can contact the National Apprenticeship Service helpline, and there's a number there. You can also contact National Careers Service, who can give you advice and guidance. And so look at those there, get in touch with those if you need to, go onto the website if you need to, there's lots of support there. And also, if you are interested in an area, come and find me, Mr. Lake, and I will happily support and help you and try and find something that might be useful to you. Here's a bit of a quiz. Any questions, unfortunately, we can't do. So I'm going to come back to this page here because I think it's really, really important. Apprenticeships are very, very strong. They're being pushed by the government. They're a great way. They're a different way of learning a subject and also getting qualifications. They're different to university and different to going on to study college. Definitely worth having a look or having a think so you know what options you have available to you when you get to the opportunity to be leaving school. I hope it was helpful. And like I said, guys, do get in touch with me if there's anything I can do to support you. Okay? Have a good day. Bye-bye.